Lesson number 6, the shoot. You know how to direct, but let's handle the crew, let's handle the shoot, and we got another 10, 15, 20 checks you better budget for to know how to write those checks. The shoot. What we're going to get into now with lesson number 6 is I'm going to teach you how to get a crew together, but by hiring the 5 department heads. The director, who you already know who that person is, and it's probably you. Remember, you're a hypocrite. Remember, you said, and you took the class on how important it is to hire the best. Who's the first person you hire to direct? Yourself. Did you just hire the best? Or did you hire pretty much a close incompetent who barely knows how to buy film and thinks they know how to buy film because they had a class with a guy that yelled at him for 3 minutes? So, you're going to hire the director, and it's going to probably be you. Then the cinematographer, who sometimes it's called the DP or DOP or director of photography. Then the production manager, then the production design, and the production coordinator. When you put a crew together, stop thinking about all these resumes, 20, 30, 50 people. You just hire your key people. Then you tell each key person you hire, here's how much money you budgeted for everybody else. And they hire everybody else. Your key people are the director, and you'll probably hire yourself, the DP, director of photography, the production manager or PM, the production designer, and the production coordinator. Those are the people you hire. So let's get into and let's hire a DP. Let me teach you something about the camera, the DP, and who these people are that you don't seem to know anything about. The director of photography. See that word, director, somehow got snuck in there? You know, these cinematographers got frustrated after a while of giving credit to all this other person who just sits around and looks at 3 TV sets. And then we don't want to be called a cinematographer, I want to be called the director of. They're real important. And I want you to hire, when you hire the director, this is going to probably be your biggest problem during the shoot. And most of you are hiring yourself, and you know that's a problem, but you're going to do it. The most important person you're going to depend on day in and day out to make your movie is the DP, director of photography, cinematographer. That person better be great. That person better be great and have a personality that fits very well with yours and respects you and likes you. So how do you hire a DP who's a DP? Did you hear that phrase? How do you hire a DP who's a DP? Not a DP who's an operator, not a DP who's an AC, and you never, ever, ever, ever hire any kid that ever gets out of film school. Ever. You let them have 5 years so they learn the real world. And then you hire them. And what are you going to hire them as? A DP? No way. Your camera operator? No way. Your first assistant camera? No way. Second AC. Any kid that gets out of film school and wants to be a cinematographer, shot maybe 16 millimeter film school and tape, and ran around, did the stuff, never really shot 35 millimeter in film school, guys, and if they did, it was only like a 3-minute short. And now they want to be a cinematographer, they come to LA or New York. You know what the first job they get? They get a job at a camera rental facility working as the driver or the maintenance person cleaning up at the camera rental facility. That's the first job for everybody in the camera world when they come to the movie industry. They get a job working at a camera rental facility. Now what you got to learn is all kids that say they're cinematographers have 2 business cards. One that's in their right-hand pocket that says they're DP, director of photography. The other in their left-hand pocket that says they're an AC, assistant cameraman. And by the way, they're neither of those 2. They're a truck driver at a camera rental facility. And you're thinking about spending all your money and giving it to a truck driver at a camera rental facility to shoot your film. You're a moron. So this kid gets there. Now, when you meet this kid at a bar, at a restaurant, at a social event, what business card is he going to give you? It's one that says DP, and I came from North Carolina, I came from this school, this school, this school, DP, DP, DP. Truth is, he got a job working at a camera rental facility. You know who comes in every day at the camera rental facility? The real cinematographers in Hollywood who are picking up their cameras for their 1-week, 3-week, 10-week shoots. That real cinematographer picking up the camera package, this kid zips over to him or her and says, "Sir, ma'am, if you ever need anybody to be your second AC or second assistant cameraman, if you need somebody to work the slate, work the magazines, keep the clapper, and keep the camera reports together, I'd love to work with you. You've done such wonderful things." So this kid, what do you think? He gives him a car that says DP, gives him the car that says AC, which you're never going to see. And he gets his first job, or her first job, as a second assistant cameraman, sometimes called a clapper loader. They work the slate, the clapper, they load the magazines, and on the back of the slate is where they keep the paperwork, the camera report. After this person does this job for about 2 years, at least 20 shoots, then the person moves up to be a first AC. There's a very clear pecking order in the camera world. This is the person called the focus puller, first assistant cameraman. When you see people on a shoot and you see somebody with the tape measure going over to the actor's nose or forehead, that's the first AC, who's called the focus puller. When you do a dolly shot, they know how to move the focal point. And when you look at dailies, if any shot is not sharp and clear, that person is instantly fired that night, doesn't come back to the set ever again. And don't ever think any cinematographer you hire will ever admit to a shot being out of focus. They will never. They'll always give you the crap word saying, oh, I tried soft focus. It's out of focus, I can see it. I guarantee you, once they know that you know, that focus puller is not going to be there to screw up any more shots the next day. Now, after this focus puller, first AC does this for 2 years, another 20 jobs, and then they actually get to look behind the camera. They can become the operator. These are actually, right now, they're working as operators. They're shooters. They're keeping me, hopefully, in frame. They're also worried about focus, but composition and framing. After they do that for 2 years and another 20 jobs, then, in my opinion, if I was shooting a Corman feature, I might hire that person. They've been in Hollywood now working on shoots, about 60 shoots in 6 years. They've been a second AC, a first AC, they've worked at the camera rental facility, they've been an operator. Now maybe I'd hire them. Will I pay them, that person? $2,000 a week, that's enough money. You want to pay more, you got my permission to pay more. And then I hire the DP at $2,000 a week. 3-week shoot, $6,000. What do you think they need in pre-production? It's a truck. Camera's just a bus. They know how to work it. All they want to do is go to the location, if you know exactly where the location is, to look for electricity and lighting. And what else do they need? It's like 2 days of prep, that's it. So I want you to hire a DP who is a DP, or at the lowest, a DP who's been an operator and been in LA at least on about 60 shoots over the last 6 to 8 years. Never a kid out of film school. They are truck drivers. That's all they are. Stop thinking there's some new undiscovered cinematographic talent you're going to find. And after you hire the DP, you tell him or her how much money you have for the other 3 people, and he or she will hire the first AC, the second AC, and the operator. You don't worry about them. They'll just show up. The next person, the production designer. The production designer. This is the first person you really hire. We really only need the cinematographer a couple days or a week before the shoot. You need the production designer maybe a month before the shoot, because they got to read the script, break it down, decide if there are real locations they can afford, you can afford, and how to dress it up, or build a couple 1-wall, 2-wall, 3-wall sets. So you need the production designer 4 weeks pre-production, 3 weeks of the shoot, about 7 weeks, paying $600 to $1,000 a week. Then the production designer will need 3 other bodies. The art director, the set designer, a carpenter, a painter, or whatever. They're all at about $300 to $550 a week. Next, the production manager, sort of a guy or gal like me, 25 years younger than me. I have no ability to work 18-hour days anymore. I am 60. I can't do it. When I was a kid, I could go out there, I could party 2 or 3 o'clock, and if I had to get up at 8, I didn't like it, but that next night I'd party again. My wife and I had a party a month ago, and we had about 60 people over. I'm still trying to catch up on sleep. It's got to be a young, energetic person, but's been around for a little bit of time. Go for about a 30-year-old, And a person that's sort of a production manager in rock video industrials commercials, but sort of wants that opening title credit is really what you're offering on a feature film. There's something about shooting a feature that you'll be able to get people at much cheaper rates because you're doing a feature and there's the possibility of opening title credits. So you'll find the production manager who puts in about 20 hours a day, every day. They're the first one getting up in the morning at 4:30. You know, when do you want to start shooting? You know, the only thing we can't manufacture when we're making a film is daylight. When does the sun come up in LA now? It comes up at 6:15, it's bright. So I want first shot at 6:15. To have first shot at 6:15, I want rehearsed and blocked at 5:45. Rehearsed and blocked at 5:45, you better get the camera and the crew and everybody there and the equipment out at 5:15. To get everybody there at 5:15, you know what everybody does as soon as they come to a set? Nobody works until they see the coffee pot. Most of you don't drink coffee, but you got to look at the coffee pot. So I better get a person that's called a craft service person there at 4:45 to have coffee perked, not perking. Did you hear that phrase? Write it down. Perked, not perking. What's the first thing you do every day to make a film? Make coffee. And if you can't make coffee on time, that day's shoot's ridiculous. You'll see. Be 5 minutes behind. The second person comes to the set and the coffee pot's going, boop, 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 boop. The day's a fiasco. But if the second person comes and the coffee's there and the donuts, whatever, I don't like donuts, bagels, muffins, etc. No sugar. Of course, no drugs, no alcohol. No, I don't even like sugar on my set. Somebody ever comes to my set with 24 donuts, there's a sugar rush argument in about 15 minutes that's coming from that one. Anyway, production manager, a guy that gets the cast and crew list, wakes up at 4 o'clock, has every one of your phone numbers, starts calling you at 4:15, 4:30. So you get to the set at 5 o'clock, but make sure the craft service person is there and doing their job right away. And I get to the set, then comes hair, makeup, then the actor, then the lighting crew, and then the camera crew. And the person you always hate on the shoot, every shoot, is the sound person, because they're the last person that always comes. You know, it's the same thing in this shoot that we're doing right here. The last person to come today was the sound man. He's nice, he's good, he's efficient, I'm happy. But, you know, you don't need me. I want you there on time. Come with the rest of the crew. And, you know, he'll be the first one that wants to leave. No, get your paperwork together. Watch what I do later on with the sound man. Be very nice, but it's a prevent. Anyway, this is putting a crew together. I want you to start thinking of just your key people. You're boggling your mind thinking of all these resumes. Stop it. Cinematographer, production designer, production manager, and really your assistant, who you'll call your office manager, but the technical phrase is production coordinator, that doesn't know anything about film. And it doesn't matter, but they're anal and they're organized. And then you'll tell each one of those people how much money you have for everybody else during the shoot, and they'll hire everybody else. Production manager, production coordinator hire PAs, script supervisors, the other people that are there. You'll need about 4 PAs. Watch, I'll save you $2,000 to $5,000 for your shoot. Here's how you hire a PA. Here's the qualification with the people, the distributors in the no-budget industry if they hire crew people. And they put the word out there, we're shooting a feature film, we're crewing up. Somebody raise your hand and say you want to be a PA on my shoot. I'm paying. Who wants to be a PA on my shoot? Okay, fine, you're the first one. Have you been to film school? No. That's a plus. I hate to say that. If you'd said, yeah, I've been to a 4-year film school, I wouldn't hire you. Don't you think he thinks he knows how to make a film better than I do? Oh, that's a great employee. I really need an employee that's criticizing me, that thinks he knows better, that wants to. I don't want to teach you. I'm not running a film school. I'm running a shoot. If I say jump, and I'll never ask you to do anything illegal, will you say how high? I'm not hiring you. Who else wants to be a PA? You do? Hi. Have you been to film school? If I ask you to do something, you'll do it? Yes. It'll never be illegal. Okay. Do you have a pickup or a van? Yes. What do you have? An SUV. Can you take the seats out in the back? Yes. That's that phrase, gopher. I need a truck. We need 4 pickups and vans and trucks. I don't want to rent them. I don't want another driver to drive them. You're the PA. It's called the gopher. And now you have something to go for it in and with. That's the only qualification to hire a PA. Do you have a van or a pickup? And you haven't been to film school. That's my opinion. Maybe you read a textbook somewhere and you got another theory. Have a good time. Guess what? Let's put this crew together. Take a look up here. A DP at about $2,000 a week, 3-week shoot, $6,000, $1,000 a week for 3 weeks of prep and some post-production. I'd give this 8 to 10 thou. The production manager, line producer, for 3 weeks during the shoot, 2 or 3 weeks of pre-production. We don't do anything in post-production except get all the equipment back. We're at a little less money than the cinematographer. We'll be about 6 to 8,000. The production designer, 4 weeks of pre-production, 3 weeks of the shoot, 7 weeks total. At $600 to $1,000 a week, that's $4,000 to $7,000. The 15 to 20 other people in the crew, all being paid $200 to $800 a week, that's better than free, that's better than deferred, will be $6,000 to $7,000 a week, a 3-week shoot, 18 to 21 thou. Next, the production designer is going to say, how much money are you allocating me to design sets and build walls? That's the production designer's art budget. It'll be something like, on this budget, 6 to 8 thou. The wardrobe person is going to ask, what's my budget? You don't ask them how much money do you need. You know they'll come up with the big number. You got to figure out what can you afford to give them and then pick that number. Maybe it's 2 to 3 thou. 19 and 20 are combined. Permits and insurance are intertwined with each other when you're doing your shoot. You will probably, but not necessarily, get film permits, and you'll be dealing with film insurance. What's film insurance? Really, there are about 100 things to get insured for, and if you have all the money, get insured for everything. But if you don't have a lot of money, which you guys don't, there are 5 things you're going to be dealing with insurance. 5 different types of insurance, and they have nothing to do with each other, and don't group them together. 1, equipment insurance, equipment insurance. 2, liability insurance, liability insurance. 3, workers' compensation, workers' comp. 4, 2 interesting letters, E and O, E and O. 5, a completion bond or completion guarantor. Get those 5 separate insurances. Here's what they are. 1, equipment insurance. To go over and rent a camera equipment that's $50,000 to $150,000 in value, those camera rental facilities know darn well there's thievery that takes place on sets. You can break the equipment, lose the equipment, it's stolen or damaged. You are not getting real 35mm equipment without equipment liability insurance. Don't ask the camera rental facility, how much money should I get? They always say, get $1 million. You're not getting $1 million worth of equipment, so you're way overinsured. Just get $250,000 for 3 weeks, $250,000, 1, equipment insurance. That's a check you write. 2, liability insurance. This is the insurance you're going to have to pay for if a film commissioner, and you go to them, and you apply to get a film permit. They might say it's free to shoot in my city or my state. They all lie. They'll say it's free by meaning they're not going to charge you a day rate or a week rate or a month rate, but they know that the film industry is a very high accident-prone industry. And there's a very good likelihood that during the shoot, somebody breaks a bone, somebody needs stitches. There's a fair chance that somebody's going to get sued. Who's going to get sued? You, the production company, you, the producer, and the city or state that allowed this accident-prone industry to occur. So every city or state film commissioner everywhere in the world wants us to come, wants us to drop off our money, but they demand that we get a very expensive liability insurance policy, that in case there's an accident on the set, it covers the city, state. So if you ask them how much to get, don't do that. If you ask them, they'll say $2 million. If they're really nice, they'll say $1 million. You're going to pay X amount of dollars per $50,000 per week for doing this, and the lower the number, the better it is. The film commissioner might ask to read your script. If this ever happens, you're in trouble. Are you naive enough to think a film commissioner is going to read your script and go, this is really wonderful, I know a dentist who wants to put in some money, we have a program to help you? Who is naive enough to think that ever happens? Why a film commissioner reads a script is to look to see if in the 100-page script there's a 2-page car chase, or there's an explosion scene, or gunshots. Then there's very good likelihood there's going to be an accident on the set. And if they read that 2-page scene, they'll probably tell you to get $10 to $20 million worth of liability insurance. I'm not telling you what to do in this lesson. I've sort of seen a lot of people do this. I'm not telling you what to do. You got a 100-page script with a 2-page car chase, and a film commissioner says they like to read the script. I sort of see people send them 98 pages. I have no idea what's missing. I guarantee you no film commission is going to read the script and call you back and says there seems to be a plot point missing on page 62. And all I know is if they see that scene, it's going to cost you another $10,000 to $20,000 during the shoot. So you're going to do what you're going to do, and I'm not telling you what to do. Permits and insurance. 1, equipment insurance. That's a check. 2, liability insurance. Unless you're what you call guerrilla filmmaking. Guerrilla filmmaking is just you shoot without a permit. That's all. Brothers McMillan over there. I don't know. I don't think he had a permit. I don't know. Get picked up? Yeah. Is it on TV? Yeah. Is it on cable? Yeah. Is it in video stores? Yeah. Did he have a permit? I don't know. My instinct says, I don't think so. He was a guerrilla filmmaker. Guerrilla filmmaking means you just don't get a permit, you're sort of a little paranoid. Who are you paranoid of? The cops? Will you stop being paranoid of cops? They're wonderful people. And by the way, I've heard that in Southern California, cops have other things to do except bust filmmakers without permits. I've heard there are family problems, alcohol problems, rapes, robberies. The last thing in the world a cop is going to be looking around is a filmmaker to bust who doesn't have a permit. You know who I hate when shooting? I hate anybody else in a uniform. I hate lifeguards. I despise security guards. I hate park rangers. Cops, I love cops. The only thing cops do when you're shooting film, though, is they get territorial on the street. So don't ever stop. If you have no permit, I'm not saying don't get a permit, but if you ever have no permit and you're just shooting, don't stop traffic. But if you're just shooting in a building, in a house, or in a driveway, please just drive by. And every cop knows when they drive by the set, if that middle-aged, pot-bellied, old, retired policeman who's busting out a uniform, who's supplementing his pension fund, isn't sitting there, you ain't got a permit. Are you a cop? And you know every time when you drive by, they don't have a permit. As soon as you don't see the fat old cop sitting there, that's there. And by the way, has anybody ever seen a cop do anything on a set? By the way, this is going to be, if you need a permit, it's going to become the most expensive person in your crew. Most I've seen, I apologize in this, is a cop walks around with a coffee cup and goes over to an actress. Are you married? Are you? Oh, you play around? I'm a cop. Got a gun. Hi. Uniform. Popping out of the butt. They don't do that. They don't do that. But so you understand about policemen on the set. If you get a permit, even though it's free, you'll have to pay for insurance. You'll have to probably get the city. And they don't assign you. There's a rotation pool, and they're retired policemen supplementing their pension fund. And it's $30 to $80 an hour, minimum 8-hour day. After 8 hours, it's time and a half to 10 hours. After 10 hours, it's double time. And by the way, you're working 18-hour days. That's the most expensive person in your crew. And that's about it. So back to the subject, insurance, permits and insurance. 1, equipment insurance. 2, liability insurance. 3, workers' comp, workers' compensation. Has nothing to do with the film industry. It's just a law in America. You're an employer, you have employees, workers' comp. Workers' comp. It's not a big check, get it, get it, get it. You know, you'll only have to pay for X amount of salary for X amount of weeks and you have a small payroll. Don't not get it. It's a law in America, get it. You're a producer, you're doing a temporary business, has nothing to do that it's a film business. Just get workers' comp. It's not a big check. Back to insurance. 1, equipment insurance. 2, liability insurance. 3, workers' comp. 4, here's an interesting one, 2 letters, E and O. Stands for errors and omissions insurance. Errors and omissions insurance. Have you ever noticed whenever you see a movie and you hear a phone number in the movie, or you see somebody has a phone book in there and you look at the phone number and it's in the shot? What's the number? It always starts with 555, 555, 555, 555. All I'm letting you know is everybody knows that's ridiculous. Why do they do it? It's bogus. And all I'm letting you know, do it! You don't not do it. Here's why. Go home tonight, dial a phone number. Pick any 7 digits you want. Just go home tonight and dial it. Odds are somebody has that phone number, especially in other area codes. Now let's say your film is done and 1 million people see your film. We don't know why 1 out of 200 lonely suckers goes home that night and dials that phone number. When I was a 12-year-old kid, me and another kid that lived next door, we loved doing that. You know, whenever we saw our phone number in any movie when I was a little kid, we'd just get home and dial it all night long, breathe and hang up. I'm the mean kid that did that one. And if it's your phone number and 5,000 people are calling, I created an invasion of privacy. And you're going to be very mad after the third phone call, after about 30 seconds. That's why we do 555. Go home tonight, dial 555 and pick any of the 4 digits except 1212, and nothing comes up. Whatever reason, I don't know what it is. There's no air, bandwidth, or something up in the sky that the government allocated to it. So it's bogus. And we know that it's bogus, and we know that most of you know it's bogus, so a lot of times the 5 button is the JKL button. So a lot of times we try to fool you by calling it Klondike 5. JKL. Make another word up other than Klondike. I can't come up, I look in the dictionary. There's nothing, no word that comes up JK or JL or KJ or KL. Or KL is Klondike is the only one. So we do that.
Jackal.
What is it?
Jackal.
Jackal? Okay, cool. Somebody else said. That's a good one.
That's my idea.
Oh, shut up. You don't own ideas. You don't own an idea. Don't try that.
That's right.
All right, let's get back to the subject insurance. Equipment insurance. Permit insurance. Equipment insurance. You write a check. Liability insurance. If you're not guerrilla filmmaking, you're getting a permit, you write a check. Workers' comp. It's a law in America. It's a small check. Do it. E&O. This is an insurance policy. You won't pay for it. But what you got to make sure you do is be very anal during the shoot, that you have all the actors' releases, the property releases, the group releases, you have the contract that shows you have the right to the script, you got copyright clearance, you have music clearance. So if a distributor ever picks up the film, they'll pay for the E&O insurance. Its insurance policy says if you have made an error and omitted some of the rights of the releases or don't have the rights, and that person sues for whatever reason, the insurance company will pay for the lawsuits and the damages if there are any. No distributor will ever touch your film, no matter how great it is and how cheap it is, if they can't pay and get E&O insurance, errors and omissions insurance. 555, 555. And the final one is completion bond. That's an insurance policy that states if you go over budget, the insurance company will pay for it to finish the film. Who in here is naive enough to think any of you guys are going to get a completion bond? What are you going to do? You're going to do a budget for $600,000, get a completion bond? They charge usually ballpark about 6%. So you're going to write a check for $36,000. And 3 days into the shoot, you call up the insurance company and go, gee, we had a weather problem, a set fell down, we're going over budget, we need another $2.8 million. No insurance company bonds low budget. We know you guys are under budget. We know you guys really don't know how to make a film. We know you guys really don't have qualified crew during the shoot. Young, enthusiastic, energetic, God bless. No insurance company is going to touch anybody with a true completion bond for anything less than $800,000 in cash. And if you have $800,000 in cash, you are making a $2 to $3 or a $3 to $5 million feature. You remember that other game? The marketing budget and the cash budget. If you have $800,000 in cash, you're doing a $2 to $3 million feature. And on that, you'll get a completion bond. In this one, a $50,000, $100,000, $200,000, $300,000, there is no bond, guys. Don't even talk about it. So the subject right now is film permits and film insurance. So to get your equipment insurance, your liability insurance and workers' comp, and maybe pay for the officer on the set if you got the permit, will cost you about $4,000 to about $15,000 during a 3-week shoot. Next, the other numbers that are going here. Synchronizing your dailies and then putting edge code numbers on, this will cost you $3,000 to $4,000. Next, SFX, special effects, stunts. What does this stuff cost? What does special effects and stunts cost? They cost nothing. They cost nothing. Here's why. You're not going to do any. Don't be an idiot, think you're going to do effects and stunts on your first film when you barely know how to make a film. Just put it out of your head. You're going to do a dressed up Henry Jagler movie, you get 12 women, you put them in a room, you throw it in neuroses, and you tell them to complain for 90 minutes. It's going to be tough enough to make that film. No effects, no stunts. Now, if I asked if anybody in this room is making a living doing effects or stunts in the movie industry right now, that you're doing it so well that you have paid for your house and have a mortgage, then I'd say to you, you can do an effects movie. Because then I'll say to you, what are you going to charge yourself? Nothing. So it's on budget. And then I'll ask you, if I came to you with these effects, what are you going to charge me? Anything you think you can get from me. You look at how I'm dressed. You'll put in any number, tell me whatever I want to hear, and then 4 days into post, we seem to have a problem. And I'm stuck with you now, that's all. Special effects stunts, I'm sorry guys, I refuse to allow you to do that on your first feature film. You want to do it, my heart says you're going to screw up. Please don't do it. A dressed up family reunion, courtroom drama, that's what everybody does in their first project. Next, locations. You're going to rent your locations for 3 weeks, it's 18 days. Put in basically $100 a day, $2,000. Okay, let's rent locations. You're going to put in $100 a day, $100 a day, 3 weeks, $1,800. Oh, you're going to get your friend that's going to give you a bowling alley. You can use my bowling alley. You can use my restaurant. Oh, you can use my apartment. Oh, you can use my house. I've heard that so many times, and I've been on so many shoots where people have said that their heart was in the right place, and it always blows up. Don't try it. What we say is film crews are like armies, and film crews are like relatives. After 3 days, we smell. Relatives are like fish, is where the saying comes from. After 3 days, they smell. Have your mother visit you. The first day your mother visits you, you had that therapy class on how to talk to mothers. She gets off the plane, you hug her, you talk about breakfast, then at breakfast you talk about lunch, at lunch you talk about dinner, and when you don't know what to talk about, you talk about the weather. That's what mothers talk about. I finally learned to talk to them. My mother finally liked me. That was about 20 years ago, instead of me demanding that she talk like I talk. So the first day mom visits me, I hug her. Then at the second day, I start putting those buttons out there for her to push. I don't really shove them that much in her face, but she gets up, she comes to breakfast at my house, and she says, you know, you still don't make your bed. That's all it takes, doesn't it? That's it. Just that one little sentence. There it goes. And by the end of the second day, what am I saying to my mother? What time's your flight tomorrow, Mom? Third day, she smells. Watch what happens when your film crew goes to a location. The first day at the location, everybody loves you. They're trying to help you. They're baking muffins. They're getting iced tea. They're telling their sons, their relatives, you need some extra bodies. You got there at 5 in the morning. You leave at 10 o'clock at night. What time are you coming back tomorrow? 5 in the morning. You know how you hate the garbage man when he comes at 6:30, 7 o'clock? That's 6:30, 7 o'clock. This is 5 o'clock with 30 cars. By the end of the second day, I always call the third day at any location the dude day. Here's where the macho dude man's going to come from. Any location I've ever been at, here comes the third day. When men kick in their macho attitude, what we do is we put our hands down our side and we turn our thumbs in. That makes us walk like this. And you don't want to mess with me when I'm walking like this. And my chin is out there, and it's going to beat your chin anywhere right now. So on the third day, I see somebody from across the street with this walking posture coming to the set. I know what he's doing. His wife kicked him out of the house because little Billy can't study anymore. We're creating a nuisance. It's the third day, we smell. And what I've always found out is I put a lot of $100 bills in my back pocket. And as soon as this person comes and he says, who's in charge, I just wad it up, put it in the guy or gal's hands, and just thank them for being so sweet and so considerate. I've never not had a person take a $100 bill and go back to his wife like the great white hunter. I'm not proud of it. I've done it with policemen. I've done it with city councilmen. I've done it with firemen. I've done it with security guards. I've done it with lifeguards. I've done it with park rangers, $100 bills. I'm telling you a real thing now. I tried 20s. They don't work. I tried 50s. They don't work. They have to be a $100 bill. So even though you're shooting at somebody's house and they're letting you think it's free and you put in your budget for free, I'm telling you what's going to happen comes the third day of the shoot. How many minutes? Thank you, ma'am. So put in $100 a day, 18 days, $2,000. And when you bring out these $100 bills, don't let any crew people see them. Because now you got yada, 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 and you got that other problem that you just created dealing with. Next, office. You'll need a physical office, about 700 feet, for about 4 months. Get an office, no high rent area. Get an office that has no Starbucks within a mile, no Kinko's within 2 miles, but a bail bondsman around the corner. You can rent 700 square feet in that area. Every city, every town, everywhere in the world has that one. You can rent that for $500 a month. Put in a phone bill of $500 a month. It's $1,000 a month. 4 to 5 months, $4,000 to $5,000. That's your office. You got nothing anybody's going to steal. What, are people going to break in and steal a headshot? What are they doing, et cetera, et cetera. Next, this is a real big thing, publicity. It's going to be a sole lesson, entire lesson in itself. All I'm going to do now is say, put in $2,000 to $10,000 in publicity money. And do proper publicity in pre-production, production, and post-production. Why? Every distributor's looking for you. Why are you hiding? Distributors love independent filmmakers. You've heard them say that 1,000 times already. But now I'm going to tell you why. You know why we like you independent filmmakers? It's real simple. You're free. You spend your own money. Anybody not hear that? I love independent filmmakers. If I was the Weinsteins, I'd be on every panel in the world, sitting back there saying how much we need the independent film revolution. We need you people. We need new talent. Now spend your money. Don't ask me for any money. Here's why we love independent filmmakers. You're free. You have no overhead, no development costs. Most of you have no guild and union affiliations. Not only are you free, you don't cost me a penny, you can make a film for 1/5 to 1/10 the cost I can make it for. We have overhead, we have development costs, we have guild and union affiliations. You have none of that. You know why else we like you people? When I make a film, I get a script. I do my best to try and figure out the script. I try the best casting. I make the film. In my opinion, 9 out of 10 times we make mediocrity. But we try to make the best thing possible every time. But it's a crapshoot. You take the same script, give it to 10 cinematographers, you got 10 different films. Give the 10 cinematographers a choice of 10 different directors on how to tell them what to do, you got 100 different films. Give them the choice of 10 different actors to star as the star, that's 1,000 variables. Now do your chemistry co-starring, you got 10,000 variables. Now in post-production, pick from a film editor, 1 of 10 film editors. So the same script can have over 100,000 variables of films made from it. We know it's a crapshoot. We play that game, we got to gamble in that game. But I like you independent filmmakers because I don't have to play it with you, because what do I see with you? Your final film. No gamble. Gee, I like you people. You're free, you're cheap. You make films for 1/5 to 1/10 the cost that we can make it for. It's no gamble for me. And when you're done, I see the final product. I don't have to gamble and you guys screw it up while making it. Look what we do. And we know how to buy film, and you don't even know how to buy film. You know what else we love about you independent filmmakers? When you're done, you're broke. You're broke. And you're begging, aren't you? Now make a deal with me. You saw those guys that run Miramax. They look like artists. I'm not making an opinion. Please don't attack me. They're business people. They're very intelligent business people. Please approach this as a business. I know it's an art form. Approach it as a business. So every distributor is looking for you. Why are you hiding? We'll call you. You never call a distributor. We'll call you. Put in $2,000 to $10,000. In a lesson, I will tell you that's coming up how to do publicity during pre-production to start the phone calls, what publicity you do while you're shooting the film to continue the phone calls and start the energy going, what you do in publicity during post-production while you're calm and editing the film, and the bottom line is, what does it cost to go to festivals? They're not free. And you better have some money put aside, guys. Put $2,000 to $10,000 aside. Separate lesson coming up, I'll teach you how to spend the money. Food. The only thing that ever stops a crew from working is if you don't feed them properly. And of course, if you bounce a check, and don't bounce any checks. So you're almost like an airline. When you do your cast and crew list, make sure you feed your crew well, and the actors too. It's not that expensive, guys. It's an easy thing to do when you do the logistics. You get your craft service person that comes and makes breakfast. What's breakfast? Coffee perked, not perking. Decaf brewed, not brewing. Hot water boiled. About 5 different juices, 5 different types of fruits, bagels and muffins, and if I'm big budget, I'll throw in a lot of yogurt. It's a better breakfast than you had this morning. Then 6 or 7 hours later, I go over to a restaurant. I don't know why they come up with film caterers, people with these trucks that are film caterers. You make food with sprocket holes in it? What's the specialty? I'm a film caterer. What type of special food do you make that crew people want? They just want food. So go to any restaurant. You know what you pay for lunch. For a decent lunch that fills you up, it's about $7 to $11 today. So I go to any restaurant near where I'm shooting and I say, tomorrow I want 30, 40, 50 hot meals. But when you come, I demand tables. I demand a tablecloth. I don't want any plastic and I don't want any paper. I want real plates. And I want, it's not, I'll call it silverware or flatware, but it's not exotic, but it's real stuff. And this is your 1 hour break. And you don't want to know from me, the producer, during that break. In the first week of every shoot, when I'm sitting at lunch, I'm the producer or line producer, everybody wants to sit with me. The second week of every shoot, at the producer or line producer's table, nobody's sitting with me. And the third week of every shoot, I make sure I get the PA to taste my food before I eat it. But food. So when I cast you or crew you, I'll ask you your dietary habits. You low salt, you Zen macrobiotic, you're a vegetarian, you're a vegan, you're kosher, you're Muslim, whatever. It's not tough to accommodate for that. So of 40 meals, I'll probably have 30 regular, 5 vegetarian, and 4 or 5 of those brown rice people, whatever that concoction is. But craft service person every morning, and then a real catered meal with real tables and silverware and flatware. It's $2,000 to $3,000 a week. It's not outrageously expensive. 3-week shoot, $6,000 to $9,000. Take a look up here, guys. We shot a movie. In the can. It was shot for. There it is. Let's take a look at what it costs to shoot a movie. We just did a 35 millimeter film, 3-week shoot, working with 1 guild SAG, buying film, lab deal, camera package, sound, paying real crew people, feeding them properly, securing locations, working 12 to 18 hours a day, and here's what it costs. So above the line, line items 1 through 4 is 18 to 27 thou. Let me go down the line items 25, or line items 5 down to 26 first on the high. 25 and 15, 40 and 15, 55 and 3, 58, 64, 69, 78, 81, 91, 99, 106, 127, 135, that's a 3, 138, 153, 157, 159, 164, 174, 183. So at a high, it's an additional 183 thou to get it in the can. Now let's go at a low, if we really haggled it down. Let's see what that cost. Line items 5 through 26, 10 and 15 thou, 25 and 12 thou is 37, 37, 39, 44, 47, 53, 56, 64, 70, 74, 92, 98, 100, 104, 107, 109, 111, 113, 119. So now to shoot this film and get it in the can, a 35 millimeter 3-week shoot working with the Screen Actors Guild, above the line 18 to 27 thou, an additional 119 to 183 below the line. We're right now at 137 thou plus whatever your producer's fee is for about 2 months at a low, to at a high 210 thou plus producer's fee. So right now, if you have 200 thou to 300 thou that I started with in the earlier lesson to make $1 million feature, we have now spent 137 to 210 thou. So you got 60 to about 100 thou for post. 3-week shoot. The first week of every shoot's the fun week. It's a romantic week. Everybody's fresh. We're making a movie. Everybody's excited. And watch what happens after 4 18-hour days. The second week of every shoot I call the zombie week. Everybody's dragging, and if you change locations, it's going to fall apart. And that's why I preach, keep it simple, stage play, 1 location. They'll keep coming back even when they're exhausted. And the third week of the shoot is really the hostility week, where everybody in the crew hates you, the producer, director. You all have those stories about that idiot guy or gal that you've been on shoots Well, now you're that person writing the checks, and we'll find out how you come out now. And the third week of the shoot is the hostility week. But you power through, you don't write any checks, you stay on budget, stay on schedule. No shot's going to save the film, get the master shot going for coverage, and you got it in the can. You power through and you get it in the can. It's in the can. 35 millimeter film, 3-week shoot. What we're going to get into, this lesson is breaking up now. What we're going to get into the next lesson is post-production and editing. That unglamorous period where you are going to be writing a lot of checks, and you don't know what these things are. And what I'll do is I'll take you through the baby steps of the picture edit, write the check, the sound edit, write the check, ADR, which you don't know really what it is, most of you, write the check, Foley, write the check, get your M&E track, get your music, and here's what you're not allowed to screw up on when you get your music, then go back and do your mix or re-recording session. But you're going to write the checks. You're not going to hire anybody to negotiate these checks for you. You're going to write the checks, and you're going to do the negotiating. And then you got to make sure whoever you negotiate with does their job, on budget, on schedule. That's the next lesson coming on. Lesson, post-production and editing, your next lesson. It will not be glamorous, but it's what you have to do. But I'll get a couple of laughs in there. God bless, happy filmmaking.